Hey, welcome back, Corners. Hope you're doing good. I just want to send a quick message here. Um, making these videos about development of consciousness and how to live life at the edge of development of your own consciousness, right? Whether you're a man or a woman. But I often see, again, something that is unnatural, that is entrapping. It is a belief building. Um, that is quite obvious that is a belief building. And of course, any belief building does not make you into a better woman or a better man. It makes you into the worst man and worst woman. It's trying to create this authentic, fake person when somebody is telling you what to do, what you need to believe, and stuff like that. And I'm specifically referring about the fact of woman telling a man how to be a man. Now, obviously, if you are a self respected and sovereign man and you understand how life is being lived and you understand what is courage and where to place your attention, that is completely useless noise to you. But it may entrap the lesser man who's young, like maybe internally more innocent. And so they're just looking for a way and maybe get caught into these fucking spells. Oh, this is what you gotta do. This is how you need to be a man. This is like this. That freaking list. You gotta take that, everything that has been said by a woman about being a man, and you burn it. And at the same time, you do the same thing by any man who's telling you how to be a man, and set it on fire. And this is where you need to start with. Burn everything that any woman or any man said about to you of how to be a man. And in that moment where you're not going to believe anybody, not going to function on the belief system, you may begin feeling what is at your own essence. You may begin, transition the metamorphosis. This is the only way that you can, quote unquote, become a man, not the corrupt world. Because if you do not go through this metamorphosis, through this transition yourself, by yourself, nobody else can do this for you. This is why I'm making these videos, and I'm very clear about, do not fucking believe anything I say, and go on the experience yourself. The only way you can become a true yourself masculine or a true yourself feminine is through your own attention and awareness, and going through all of these challenges that arise internally. It is a matter of changing and rewiring of your soul, and not to be trapped by anybody who's yapping these spells and casting another belief system upon you. If there's one man or a woman, because I always talk about both sides, because it's never one-sided. But what I'm trying to send a message about is that you can still be trapped in a matrix and believe that you're making progress, which is actually backwards, and you're actually making it worse. I think Alan Watts said, like, you learning of how to be authentic fake. And if you are sort of on the fence and still listening to these people, these people who are actually just casting spells upon you. Spell, what is a spell? It's spelling it out, right? If I say you gotta do like this, you gotta behave like this, then what is the authenticity that you are going to bring? It's all just gonna be the belief systems that you listen and believe. point in a circle, attention and awareness. This is where it all starts. And you got to burn all the beliefs, start from scratch, and investigate from yourself. And you start with any kind of negative feeling that arises in any kind of dynamic. You put attention there, become aware of the background and the foreground, and you let that begin to process. You go where you don't want to go, where your mind does not want to go, through your attention. And it's a bumpy road at the beginning. It's a very bumpy road. Can be excruciatingly painful. Can be you can experience the unimaginable pain. I'm not sugarcoating to you, which you're gonna have to break through. Unimaginable pressure, unimaginable nausea, the four deluges. And you cannot fake it, you gotta go through it. It will never be done by somebody saying something. It will never be done by people grouping over spirituality, religion, or creating some fruity ass movement. It will never be done through that, ever. This is all just manure. It's not valid at all. And so these wet behind the ears people are talking how to be a man, are talking how to be a woman. They have not dealt with any essence of existence and learn really good at casting these spells and trapping people more in the matrix. Okay, and and my existence here on this planet is to dismantle like these enthusiasts who are falsely casting beliefs onto people. My entire existence in this life is to destroy all the beliefs that can possibly come into my awareness. All falsehood. And it's done through the alchemy. Not talking about it, doing it, living. When I'm sending this message, the most that it can ever be for you is an invitation or inspiration to finally get your shit together and drop all the fucking nonsense that has been programmed from the outside, because it will never be real you. You will never be a real man or a real woman by listening to somebody else of how to be one. Don't listen. There is a way to listen a person, a woman, or a man with your heart. It is not about listening of what they say, because a lot of times people just venting and casting these gossip, which is the opposite of what you're supposed to do. You do not listen to anything they say. This is all lies. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They think that like by tweaking some form in the mind, is suddenly the quality of life is going to become better. Someone's going to become masculine, someone's going to be feminine. It's a fallacy. It's a joke. I mean, The real listening is the form of alchemy. You do not listen what people are saying. You feel the energy that is there and you alchemize it in an appropriate way. That's the best gift that you can give between you and that person. You burn all that nonsense. And only when there is this type of alignment in the soul will they ever say something that is what you would call a gospel. Not in that, gospel as in the sense of like, it's just a person who's gonna speak from their soul, act from their soul, be authentic. Because if you're gonna listen to a person who's speaking from their ego, create another belief system, infect your own system with that, how is that being authentic man or a woman? It's a definition of becoming false. And if, like I said, if anybody, one person is listening to this and see the realization of the falsehood of this, learning how to be authentic person through the information, through the external information, if you can see that falsehood, then you have a chance to get out of the matrix. And I don't know who's at fault. Is these people who have good intentions of teaching other people of how to be authentic false. And look, like, it's not like I don't interact with people. I see the people. I see that, like, I can see, like, well, this is a social robot that's been created by all of these teachings. Everything that I see in this man needs to be undone. I see it, false interactions, nothing authentic. The energy is of the coward that is armed with all sorts of information for the social interaction, which is just ego. And so, okay, you can say, well, the man is gullible and fell for it. And so now he went on a path of being a social robot. But something about this, doesn't rub me the right way. Something about it, if I can do something about it and destroy it, I will do it. This is what I did with this person that I met. I said, let's hang out. And little by little, he was able to see through all the, it's difficult for a man to admit that everything that has been trained is bullshit and he has to set it all on fire and it's not useful at all. And has to start from scratch again and have that his own authentic energy, which is, people talk about masculinity and they think it's about the order and the structure. The structure has to happen naturally from the truth, which is what the masculinity is, the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is a feeling of bliss. That's how you know what's true. The closer to pure bliss you are, not this false dark passion thing. That is actually being the opposite of a man. And it's not done through the information. I've been saying this for quite some time. It's not done through listening to a woman or a man telling you how to be. You see, this is like how these matrix function, say like, well, you have a problem in your relationships with women. Let me teach you how to do it right. Let me teach you how to manipulate them. And then sure, you can manipulate a woman who is functioning on the ego, but they forget to tell you that you don't really want to be in a relationship with that type of woman. So they produce this man that is a social robot who's really good at tricking women into having feelings for them. Now, of course, they can never trick a woman who's connected with her own heart. She would just laugh at their face. Because it's like she would immediately see that there's like some sort of Muppet coming in front of him and doing all sorts of tweaking bullshit. They actually do. I talked with the woman, and that's what they say. So I don't know why this guy came up to me and she's like being all bullshit and doing his act. He said, hey, be normal. Why can't you just be who you are? Talk to me the way you are. Why are you fucking giving this routine? They see through this bullshit. And that's, you see, that's like you're trained to be to pick up the woman that you don't even want, or be in a relationship with the woman that you don't even want. There's no value there. Besides like a sort of like instant gratification, dopamine releasing pleasure, which has nothing to do with real joy. No one will be able to teach you of how to be a man. Learning a skill, sure. If you want to learn a skill, there are teachers for that. If you want to learn art, science, whatever, there are teachers for that, and they're useful in that sense. But no one will teach you what it's like to be a man in your soul. To know what is right intuitively, instantly. It is an energy thing. It's a feel thing. And the same thing with the woman. So, men and women sometimes end up saying, well, enough, like, there's got to be a better way. And then they get caught into these teachers, into the same trap, and they get that little success on a superficial level. But then it never grows into some love or something that is based on true. And the whole industry is built upon that. It's sad. It's pathetic, and it's sad. To be that level of to have that level of falsehood, to have a person to just anyway, if you are listening to this, and if you have this thing of following someone about how to become a better person and whatever, scratch that, dump that, all of it. And in that doing, you're gonna end up being what is at the essence, and then you're gonna start your journey. Then you're gonna start dealing with this, and only the real person, or the real man or the real woman, will be able to go through all of that. Okay. You cannot fake it. You cannot, cover it with clever lines and manipulative techniques and imitation of being a good man. Like I said, like I can feel it with the energy. A man comes, and there's this false behavior. So they learn even how to move, how to speak, everything. But there's nothing home. There's nobody home. or whatever is home is just cowering away like this, defending themselves with all of these different techniques that they've learned. So it's just like this, like superficial level. Okay, well, if this, there's spikes right here, right? Like, so I have to create some sort of defense. So then I'm going to create a shield against these spikes, and all of the different trickery that happens on a physical level in the nature. But now it's being applied on a psyche level. And so then one's like, oh, now you have a shield. So, okay, and now spikes, I can't get to you because you have a shield. And so I'm going to figure out how to fucking drill the hole through this, so to get to you. It's fucking ridiculous. Dump all of that and just go through your own authenticity and speak only the things that comes naturally from you. You know the language. You don't need to have any kind of skill beyond a normal human interaction through the language. Let your heart talk. If you want to connect with somebody, start with the honesty, not manipulation. If you admire something about the person, say it, but only if you're actually admiring in that moment. It will come naturally, spontaneously from the feeling, and it will carry that feeling, and then something may resonate in another person. And that would be the beginning of honest communication. Anyway, it really is. I don't know how else to all these attempts to try to make it better just makes it worse. They create one movement, then they evolve into another movement. The logo changes, the face changes, but it's the same fucking bullshit. Just creating these fucking movements, memes, superficial level. You see. But when a person like this who falls inside and has all of these defensive, strategies and tactics of how to interact with the people, the social robot, when they interact with somebody who's real, does not compute. They break down. They break down because they are not comfortable with the real intimacy. I've seen this happening. It's literally like watching somebody who's just like programs just get fucking jumbled and just talk gibberish. I'm like, okay, this person just said complete nonsense. Thanks to the goodwill of these idiotic teachers. Again, there are skills, there are arts that you can learn, of course. But how to be yourself in your soul, how to be a man, how to be a woman, which is at your essence, no one can teach you that. You got to go through the fire yourself. No one's going to be there with you. And if you have this habit, which at the beginning, which was when there was like that complete solitude, whatever that state may be, like I said, there might be 4 types of these depths of solitude. and there's might be desire, just grab hold onto something, or call somebody for help or whatever. It's no. The moment you're just not gonna rely on anything outside of you and just go inside of this is how you're demonstrating the courage. This is how you're demonstrating surrender, and this is how you can actually get out of these old beliefs and have something that's real, authentic, and alive in your soul. It is not about, hey, I'm not going to listen to a woman of how to be a man. It is about just not listening to anybody, whether it's a man or a woman, of how to be authentic. It's ridiculous. This is the problem with psychology, because it assumes that it knows the structure of the psyche, that by sharing information about that structure of the psyche and, you know, creating another structure that says like, hey, that's, look, I know this structure. If you have this structure in your mind, then that's going to work. And so then it creates belief systems that's trying to battle other belief systems. And it creates super confused people that they don't know how to interact on an authentic level, social robotics, and also this other nonsense. And I'm fucking tired of this. Thank God that I have a few real people who understand how to live life authentically and to be real. Yeah, I'm just saying this, you see, sending out this message once, and I'm not revisiting this again, because I got many other things to put my attention on. But like I said, if one person is listening to this, and it may turn into the cascading event, and it may be like the only movement is no movement. The only real movement that will can actually make something into towards the the trajectory of evolution is not creating another movement. It is not visible. It is people going through the internal change and then showing up into the world as completely different. It's not visible. And there's no excuse. Sometimes they have this excuse like, well, not everybody can do it. No, this is an excuse of a vampire. This is an excuse of a vampire who just still wants somebody to depend on them, on their belief system. Say like, well, I'm going to instill the belief system in these people because this is the belief system that is serving me and my vanities, because I'm some sort of, I can have my identity now, right? Because look, I'm saying something that other people must believe, and so I believe that they must believe this and all that stuff. And so there's this dysfunctional relationship. That is like a Kool-Aid drinking nonsense. Oh, and I think Alan Watts said that, hey, if you can be fooled, you deserve to be fooled. Maybe that's the best attitude. You see, maybe that's the best attitude. Mm. Yeah, because there's something has to be always like your internal compass to say no to these things. Like you can watch it and it's like, fuck, this is rubbing me the wrong way. This isn't it. This isn't it. There's gotta be something else. This is not it. Neti neti. Not this, not this, not this, until the point in the circle is turning upon itself. And you're looking where you're supposed to be looking and not outside of you. inside of you. Okay. I don't know how some of these videos are still, you know, were sort of like placed in front of me through the algorithm, even though I'm doing my best to just not to watch them. But there was a video that I looked at. There was a lot of chemical processes were taking place in that video because there was so much bullshit energy there. There's so much falsehood and so much nonsense, and so many gullible people participating in that, that I had to go through this alchemical process. That, and maybe that's why it ended up in front of me. But it stinks. Another New Age branch, another psychobabbling nonsense that never really helped anybody. It never will. Just be vigilant. Don't get tricked by these things. In fact, that point in a circle, that's all you need. I've said this before. You may say, well, I still need some people kind of to teach me skills and arts, and that may be true. But even that, once you embark on that experimentation and learning a skill, that game, even that, if you go through your own authentic energy, there's realizations that come to you, even to the detail of the move, of the technique. The realization of technique comes to you from within. Nobody showed you that technique. It came as a realization to you, that specific technique. Okay? It can get to that point. And at that point, you say, like, well, like, how do you think these original techniques came about? Huh? You become that thing that is creating techniques, not listening to techniques from the outside, even at the technique level, which is a skill. The art, of course, the feeling is what you bring. The feeling, you bring the feeling to that game. And that what allows you to have like a spontaneity, timing, enjoyment, and all these different things that are required to imbue into that, whatever you're creating or whatever you're playing. That elegance there, it comes, that's art side of it, and the science side of it. You see, but that both sides exist within you. This is what like kind of boggles my mind. That instead of reading books, you can write them. Yes, there's some of it you may need it. Like if you completely raw and new to a new skill, at first you're just gonna watch, imitate. But then once you get hang of the key and the essence, they will appear to you without no teacher. And in fact, I think this is how you are actually going to learn, only when it comes from within. Even if somebody gives you that tree of knowledge for the skill wise, and say, because it is a tree, because it's like if then algorithm. Any skill is if then algorithm. And what is the move in this particular situation? What is the move in this particular issue? All the possible moves, and every time you make a move, there's another, all the possible moves, and keep on branching. That's a tree, the tech tree or the tree of knowledge. This is how it's structured in the logical mind. So you're trying to learn that, and somebody's teaching you this, like, look, there's all these possible moves here. These are techniques, and once you get to this position, now all these possible moves here, and so you're learning all these possible moves. But once you get the hang of that structure of that tree, you can start creating them by yourself, because you kind of got the essence of that, and now you're creating them by yourself. And only when you're actually creating it from within by yourself do you truly learn Because if somebody's told you about it and you're imitating, that's maybe the beginning of it. But you have not learned anything. You will learn only when that technique that was showed from you from outside has been born from within. It's almost like you've been like made a move authentically for, by yourself for the first time. And you feel that like, okay, I did this. Wasn't copied. And this is how you remember that skill becomes part of you. So it's almost like this the skill that the person is teaching you is for you to remember that you already have it inside of you. It's to awake your memory about all the skills that you can possibly learn. You already have it within you. This is what education means. Educo means to draw from within, not to put it from the outside in. So that the real teacher is trying to make you remember the mastery of that game that you already have within yourself. This is what I've noticed. Then later it's like, oh wow, these things starts coming from within. And then you really know them, okay? And then, of course, the art side of it also, people say that you cannot teach the art side of it because it's an emotional thing. It is an energy thing. But this is what the art side of it you learn through awakening your soul talent. And of course you want to awaken your soul talent through the real way, not the false way. You can have that false light energy which awakens the talent because it needs that energy of light, and then there's like temporary expression of that talent. This is what you see sometimes in these celebrities. They sell their soul, to the devil. They perform really well for the time being, and then you can see the moments where they're just like, what the fuck happened? They have no talent. Like, you can see that wearing off. There's that energy just wore off, and now you can see what there really is there, and there's nothing there from authentic. It was all just through that false light. Okay, so you want to activate and enable your talents in a genuine way, that like as a sovereign being, not depending on anybody else. So that's my little rant today about this particular topic. And to be more precise about what is masculinity, it is a feeling. What is femininity? It is a feeling. The feeling of bliss is the essence of the masculine. The feeling of peace is the essence of the feminine. And then in form, at the soul level, it turns into the energy of confidence and innocence. These petals in the flower of life that you see. In this particular case, we're talking about the seed of life and the germ of life. And these Rolo triangles. Each Rolo triangle is this feminine reflective property, and each of this petal is a masculine, and even looks like a what do you call it? There's these spiritual terms to describe the shape of the genitals. Lingam and yoni, I think this is what they call it, right? And that's what it is. You can see this in the flower of life. Just look at it. You'll see that there are these petals, masculine, that's where the light, and then the triangle, that's what reflects the light. And so that's what really is. Now, of course, in the essence, there is no petals, there is no triangles, there's just pure essence which is pure bliss before it differentiates into confidence, which is the name of the energy when it's circulating in the soul. Okay. So how can you be that? Through the learning information, creating societal structures, gathering together over this, patting each other on the back. Everything that you do in that level is going to be dysfunctional and abnormal. This, what I'm talking about, can only be discovered by you, yourself, and I. there's nobody's gonna do this, and that's why it is rare. Hopefully, not going to be that rare anymore, but that's why it is rare, because you cannot falsify it, you cannot fake it, because it's the structure of your soul. It's who you are, and you became who you are by putting your attention on the things that you didn't want to face. Okay, and that initiates you into the people may call hero's journey, or the heroine's journey, to find your essence of who you are. And so this is what you're going to be finding, and this hopefully is what you're finding if you're listening and doing what I'm saying, and not just listening for the sake of information. Okay? And I think this is as much as you really need to know. Then you have to discover everything yourself. Because if you get to this point, what I'm describing, to your essence and an unfoldment of your essence, then everything else you have to figure out yourself. And that's the beauty of it, because that's what's going to make you unique, and if you and I, we meet and we talk, I will be able to tell you that, okay, you are your own person. And because you are your own person and I am my own person, and I have my own uniqueness and you have your own uniqueness, it's guaranteed to collaborate and intersect and vibe and feel good. You see, real recognizing real. Like I said, it's like a being unique, but that's another word for it, is individual, right? Indivisive, even though there is a division, but there's something that you cannot divide, because every time you are your unique self and another person is a unique self, it automatically fit like a pieces of the puzzle perfectly. And so there's no animosity between masculine and another real masculine. There's no animosity, but any kind of false masculine will always have some sort of reaction to the real masculine. It's on the energy level. It's not what they know. In fact, what they know, it's going to start burning when they face somebody who's real. This is why Carl Jung could never face some of these what is his name? Anyway, these Maharajas, he could never face them because it would destroy his ego, and he relied upon his ego for his living and stuff like that. And this is why he could not understand that I think he translated the Secret of the Golden Flower, and he butchered it because he was not an alchemist himself, and so he remained at the mental level, which created lots of problems. It never freed anybody through understanding psychological world. It's actually just creates somebody being, if you make that conclusion and say, oh, okay, if understanding psychology will really help me to navigate this world, and you're going to be really good at navigating matrix and becoming a Machiavellian type of manipulator, you see. And you don't have to deal with that at all. You can put any smell of ego on the fire without any kind of compromise. You didn't, somebody said, you do not negotiate with terrorists. You do not negotiate with the ego. That's the healthy approach. Anything that smells like ego, anything that smells like a distortion, you put it on the fire, and this is alchemy. No questions asked. That's what you're going to have, like a real freedom, when you're going to stop respecting the illusion of the free will of the ego. That's actually by definition how you can soul be completely free in its expression, unless it's completely denying and ignoring the tantrums of the ego, and putting that essence and destroying ego and creating something more of the soul. This is the soul uses ego as a fuel for the creation of something good. You don't get entangled with it, you see. So that's what I got in my pipe today. All right, guys, I'm off to the gym. Thanks for watching. Keep it real. See you in the next one.